Welcome back to the Even If podcast. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Kenzie, and we have a very special guest with us, my best friend's boyfriend, David Taylor.
What's up, guys? Good to be here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I just met you 5 minutes ago. I'm so glad you're here.
Hey, it's great. I've heard about you. Heard a lot about you, actually.
Yeah. Great. I've heard a lot about you, Kenzie.
We're on the same page.
We are on the same page. Kenzie told me a lot. She said there's a lot of great things, and here we are with you on our podcast.
What's one great thing you've heard?
That you have an amazing girlfriend.
Oh, come on now. I was hoping that'd be about me. No. I'm kidding.
About you.
No.
No, actually, I do have something. Is that Kenzie has said that you are a great man who pursues with intentionality. And I was like, we love that. We need that in our culture. And that's really encouraging to us as single women.
Thank you.
So that's about you.
Appreciate it. Put you on the spot there.
That's okay. I love it. Tell us about you. Tell me about you.
I would love
and
to.
Everybody else.
Yeah.
Who is David Taylor?
I'll give you the full thing in let's go for a minute and 30 seconds.
Go.
I don't know. I'm just gonna talk. I am from New Jersey. I was born there, lived there all my life until college. Went to college in North Carolina, Elon University, and then had a dream to move out to San Diego. Went to San Diego for 5 years and found myself wanting to change things up a little bit. I had a best friend, John, who lived in Austin, knew him from college, and Austin is very hot, and I love the heat.
Love it.
And so that was like a real big thing that called me out there. Him being out there was like very large as well. And then my job is remote, so made it really easy to move out there, and just really conducive to being outside and being active. And so I love playing volleyball, spike ball, pickleball.
Yes.
Played pickleball this morning with your mom, as you very well know.
I know. She's already so obsessed, and it's been less than 24 hours that you've been here.
Did your mom just meet him today too?
She met him yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
And I guess besides the fun kind of sporty stuff, I am living with 3 other Christian guys. John is one of those guys. He owns the house, and 3 of us just rent, and it's been incredible. It is truly like a bachelor pad. We have a sauna and a cold plunge.
Wow,
and I
that's amazing.
can't take any credit for it at all. It's all John's generosity for buying that stuff. Like,
That's
I literally
incredible.
didn't contribute $1, but I get to reap the rewards. So that's fun. And then on top of that, something that's really important that I've tried to do since college is live with Christian dudes who aren't just Christian in name, but actually pursue the Lord. And it's been super special to get to know them. Besides John, so the 2 others, Grayson and Trent, didn't know them before moving in. They kind of were additions after I had moved in, almost exactly a year ago to this day. And our friendship and the community we have at large is just so beautiful, as you've gotten to see. And hopefully one of these days, if you come down to Austin,
Oh, for sure.
then
I'm sold.
you will see it
3
too.
Christian guys you live with, I'll come.
Hey, come on now. Come on. So that's been incredible. And we have also had the blessing of being in the same men's small group together that John and I had led over this past, I want to say, just about a year. And then we are super happy to be handing it over to Grayson and another one of our friends, Brad, in the early part of February. So going to be really cool to kind of see what God will do, I should say, over the next semester and beyond with that. But
Okay, so you only moved to Austin a year ago.
I moved August 16th of 2023. Yes.
What year are we in? Okay.
It's been about a year and a half.
Awesome.
Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. You made community fast. It sounds
I
like.
made community fast. Yeah. So I can't take any credit for it. When I just little mini God story, when I moved to San Diego, didn't know anyone there, prayed before I moved, and while I was there that God would bring community, and he absolutely did. And it was scary to move from San Diego to Austin when I had built such a great community over 5 years. I was like, God, can you really do this again? And I believed he could, but I was like, all right, what's it going to take? And so when I moved out there, I did have the advantage of knowing John, who was plugged in with people from Austin Stone Church, and met a bunch of them when I initially moved in the fall. And then am still pretty good friends with a lot of those folks now, but I ended up moving churches to Red Rocks in late last year. And when John and I started the small group, we kind of built a community among the guys, and then we're pretty active and like to get out on Lake Austin and again play sports, and so it just kind of grew from there. And so yeah.
And I will say too, he is such a gatherer of people. Like it's one of his gifts, and such a leader. So it is no surprise that you have built such amazing community in a year's time. So it makes sense. It goes with the personality.
Well, I think what I wonder as a single Christian woman, I'm like, that is so cool that you found that community. And I long for that even here in Tennessee, of group of single Christian guys and girls. And so it sounds like John and you are both kind of gatherers of people. Would you say a lot of the people that y'all are in y'all's group were from church? Because I know you said you went to one church at Stonebridge and then Red Rocks, right?
Yep.
So a bunch of like through church community.
Yep. Yeah. Austin Stone, Red Rocks, and Austin Ridge are kind of three of the really big churches. And there's totally more. There's the Well, there's others, but yes, the majority, the lion's share of all those people are believers. And I'm myself a big believer in, if you move to a new spot and you want to make friends, like start in the church. Like there's no better place to meet people. I truly believe that. And part of it is because it has just happened to me, like in a few moves, like when I went back to Jersey after college for a year, when I moved to San Diego, when I moved to Austin, like it has 1, 2, 3, every single time has been where I've met like a lot of my core people. And those people change over time and over the months and over the years, but like your core people, I mean, mine, I found them there. So, not to say, do I like not have any like, non-Christian friends, like totally have those.
Right.
But priority, especially when I moved out there, was start there and, build. So
Well, I think that's such a good reminder too, because Christian friends, like when you have that value, that's the same core values and beliefs, you get along easy. Those are lifelong friends. Those are people that you can go through heaven and hell stuff with, like everything in between. And so why wouldn't you look for that? But for some reason, I think at times we can struggle, or people think, where's community? Is it at the bars? Is it, I don't know where to find it. And it's like, it's the church, isn't it?
Yep.
Like that's the like-minded people.
Totally. I mean, especially, you nailed it as far as just what you can and will go through with those people. Mm-hmm. But on top of that, getting to like specifics, moving out to Austin, being, having been in San Diego for 5 years, I was single moving to Austin. Mm-hmm. A relationship had ended in San Diego the last summer that I was there. And of course that was something that was on my mind, but I didn't want to do that alone. Like I didn't want to go through the dating process alone. It's always better, especially, you want accountability as a guy, you truly do need like other brothers to talk through, and not just for the fun stuff. Like obviously just like, y'all, we share the tea and all that stuff.
I want to know the tea. I really want to know the tea.
Hey, you'll get the tea. But yeah, we talk about all that stuff, and something that's, stood out in the Christian house that I'm in now is that everything that we go through with the ladies, like we share for the most part. And that's great. Mm-hmm. And it gives you, it helps keep you on the straight and narrow. I mean, talking, just not to get ahead of myself, but like just accountability. Like one of my roommates is my like direct accountability partner. Not that I don't share other things with other guys that are close, but talking about just how to stay, again, on the straight and narrow, specifically with purity and other stuff too. But yeah. Wow.
Okay. So all I know is you are dating Kenzie's best friend, Mckenna. Tell us a little bit about your dating history.
Man, that is, it's hard to do in a little. It's maybe going to be extended.
Summary, share what you want.
Okay. Hey,
have you dated a lot?
Do you want the extended or do you want the summary? This is up to you.
I think extended.
You want the extended?
I mean, the people want to know, They want to know.
I could give the people
Okay,
what they
wait.
want.
First of all, how old are you?
I'm 30.
30, single, Christian man.
Well, not single, not
single,
married.
not married.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. And like,
no,
basically, we're
for tax purposes.
Sarah and I are sharing a microphone, so I'm just leaning over
really
her
close
shoulder
right now. I don't hate it.
I don't either. 30.
Single for the purpose of
taxes.
Of marriage.
Thank you.
Single for the purpose of marriage. Yeah.
There we go. No, single for the purpose of taxes. 30. Godly. Lives with awesome guys. And tell us the extended version of your dating, because women want to get in the heads of guys, right?
Yeah.
Like, and not just any guy. Like, I've told David this a lot, but a lot in the sense of like just wanting to continue to affirm that he has reset the standard for me. And so I feel so blessed to be in proximity to you, and so I get to pick your brain now, and you're going to help me in my dating, and like I'm going to go to you like my brother of like, hey, what do you think about this, and this? So I feel blessed to have that. So I really want girls to get in your head and kind of think from your perspective, like, what does David think and what is he looking for? So yeah, tell us the extended version of your, however as much you want to share, your dating history.
Yes. Okay. I'd love to. And
Go.
it's great because you don't like really know the story.
I know absolutely nothing
Okay,
about
great.
you.
So
That your
you're
name
gonna
is
get-
David Taylor.
Okay, perfect.
30 years old, single, but not really single, dating Kenna.
Yes. Okay, great.
Yes, I know nothing.
So this was something that I was very embarrassed to tell Mckenna on our first date. But the way I actually reached out to her was I had been on Instagram, and we all know Instagram is basically like another dating app. It just doesn't have the title. Mm-hmm. But I was looking at a girl I had just met's profile, and I saw one of her friends, and I was like, oh, she's cute. So I went to her profile, and I followed her, hoping she'd follow me back. She never did over the course of like 3-4 weeks. So over that time, I checked like every week, basically. Like, did she follow me back yet? Did she follow me back? Nothing.
So they do check Instagram.
We check. We
Y'all
check.
are on it.
We're on there.
Okay.
And I realized at kind of week 3-4, like, gosh, this girl's probably not hitting me back, and that's okay. But I happened to be on her profile, of course, when I checked that, and went to her tag photos, and I saw Mckenna. And I was just like, who the heck is that girl? Mm-hmm. And no offense to the other one, but like all interest for her went out the window. And I was like, I need to know who Mckenna is. Followed her. Lucky for me, she didn't wait 3 or 4 weeks to follow me back.
Nice. Okay.
She
was on her game.
A few days or something like that. Yeah. But I followed her. She followed me, messaged her pretty immediately, came up with some not so, I'll explain what I said. It was like total, I mean, it was, just out of thin air. Like, I needed something. I saw that we followed one of the same guys, and there weren't too many. So I had like a very short list to pick from, and his name was Steve. And I was like, my line was, what was Steve thinking not introducing us sooner? To kind of tip off.
So good, though.
Funny.
To not tip off that, like, I was reaching out for a reason. Like, it was like I was trying to be a little flirty, whatever. And she replied like, oh, I think I know 2 Steves. And so, like, I don't know if she fully got the fact that I was like trying to be flirty. Like, she took it literal, but I was kidding. So it was funny.
Oh, that's funny.
I got right to it, and I was like, blah, 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 responding to the thing she said about Steve. And then I was just like, hey, I am just going to be really upfront. I think you're very pretty or something like that. I would love to get to know you. And she replied back, and she's like, that sounds great.
I love that. That's a great slide in the DMs.
It was a slide.
Do you like that,
It was
Kenz?
Yeah, I'm a big advocate for sliding in the DMs.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
The guys sliding into the...
Oh yeah, we haven't hit the girls sliding in DMs yet.
It was textbook. It was not anything fancy, crazy, trying to pull some smooth line, smooth move. It was like,
Right.
it was just me.
Yeah.
And it happened to work, which is great. And then we ended up going on our first date. We went out to dinner, got ice cream. I told her that night, like, she asked me, like, how'd you find me? And that was where I was very nervous to tell her, because I was like, shoot, how is it, like, this girl doesn't know me. What's she going to think? Like, I was on some other girl's Insta. And then I found her, like, I'm some player going for, like, multiple. Anyway, she took it, like, totally well. Mm-hmm. And anyway, that was date number 1. We ended up going on, I want to say, like, 4 or 5. And I'd say dates, like, we hung out, or like we're one-on-one, like 4 or 5 more times. And towards the end, I got this feeling, I don't know, like, it feels like something changed. And then a few days later, she called me and she was like, hey, I think we should just be friends. And I was pretty bummed because she was incredible. Like, I noticed during even those short few dates that not only was I extremely attracted to her physically, but I was learning more and more about her spirit and her soul and her love for the Lord and her pursuit and like what that looked like, especially with the upbringing she had and like a lot of the craziness that happened in her home. And that happens to a lot of folks, but hers was particularly moving for me. And, you know, I really felt a lot of compassion in that, just drew me closer to her, more desire for her, whatever. And so, yeah, I just felt this like joy that she radiated, even if she was still feeling, because she had recently gone through a breakup herself. I say herself, I went through one 6 months before, but anyway, she, I feel like was still kind of going through that. And it wasn't like she wore that totally on her sleeve, but like I kind of felt that a little bit. Anyway,
just in the way she was healing, or
just I don't know, like I felt her personality and I felt the like life that was there that maybe I wasn't fully getting to see. Cause like when you're first dating, like you're getting the best of the best, but then there's also things that like you're not fully digesting about someone because they're maybe not sharing it or whatever. You can sense it, whatever it might be. So anyway, fast forward back to when she cut off, I was bummed. She was like, hey, we should be friends. And I was like, Mckenna, that doesn't really work when you have someone that's really in and then you're like kind of not, but like, so you're cool with being friends, but why would they be? Like, cause they're emotionally there. Anyway, we didn't really talk for, I guess it was a few weeks. And then I saw her out dancing at Mavericks in South Austin. And gosh, this is like a longer story, but my friend had a conversation with her and it seemed like maybe she wasn't fully out. And I was like grasping at it. I was like, she's not fully out. Like, okay, great. You know, it hasn't been that long. Like maybe we can make a recovery here. And like 2 or 3 days later, give her a call. We talk on the phone, 45 minutes. And I was like, hey, like her big thing that she told me was like, I don't think I can give you everything. She was in school. She was working. She had just had this breakup. She was trying to meet new friends, all the above. And she felt like she could only give me some percentage. And I was like, I don't care what percentage. Like, I just want to get to know you, whatever that looks like. Even if it's 25 right now, like, let's take that slow. And that's fine with me right now. And we'll see what the future holds. Anyway, she eventually on that phone call, like kind of came around. It was like, okay, like maybe we can give this a try. And then really nothing happened. Like
wait, so did you call her to say like, where, like, can I try again?
That all happened on that one call. For 45. We talked for 45 minutes. A couple days after, like she had talked to my friend, and my friend told me she was maybe not like fully out.
Okay.
Yes.
So I love your pursuit. Okay.
Yeah.
Love that.
I was like,
you're like, I'll take 25. I'll take whatever.
Yeah.
You were just dying to get to know her.
Yeah. Whatever.
Love it.
And anyway, like after that call, I'm thinking, great. Like maybe we're going to continue to pursue each other, whatever that looks like. Take it slow. I met Kenzie for the first time and we went out to dinner with a handful of friends. I just remember that night, like, even though I was thinking that we were like, Mckenna and I were back on, I felt like, I don't know if we really are. And then after that night, just like in feeling not super great about it, like I never reached out and then she never reached out. And truthfully, like I was kind of waiting for her to reach out. And I'm someone who is like totally about the guy pursuing, hopefully that's evident in like what I just shared.
Yeah.
But
sounds like it.
I also believe that like there is a two-way nature to dating.
For sure.
And I was like, okay, I was clear with the phone call. I was clear with how I was that night. I was like, I remember asking Kenzie, like, I was like, how can I like get to know her better? And it honestly, like looking back, I was like, gosh, I sounded so desperate.
No, you did not. You did not. You just sounded so interested. And that's exactly like, I'm just like grinning from ear to ear over here. Like, because it is so true. Like this is what I believe it should look like, and I think that just, it's so evident in your intentionality, and it's everything that every girl secretly deeply wants. I think some women are just afraid to fully admit that or let their guard down enough to say, oh my gosh, he is fully after me. Like, why me? And obviously we know Kenna, and we know that she has a tendency to like you know, at that time of her life, she was very much like you said, healing and going through so much. And the person that she had dated previously, you know, she had invested so much in that community and lost it. So I think there was so much fear, and I could feel that from her at the time. And then to sit with you and just have you ask me like all these questions about her, I was like, this guy really wants to know her, and every woman desires that. So that is 100% like what we want, you know?
That's good. Thank you. Thank you for saying.
Got you.
I don't know if I ever actually like.
We've
talked
never
to you
talked about that
specific.
because that was such. I had literally flown to Austin to get my car
Yeah.
and drive it back.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was kind of this somewhat of a zombie. My nervous system was still trying to get back on track from just my breakup, kind of right around the same time as Kenna's. So yeah, I remember meeting you, and I met Shawnee that night and Shunzi. And I remember that completely. And I remember being so truly in awe of how much you saw Mckenna, but we didn't know that you actually were really truly seeing her at that time because it was still so new. And she was still, like you said, just a little hesitant in the sense of like fear, which is very common, obviously, when it comes to dating. Like, is he truly what he is showing himself to be? How can I trust that? And obviously, as you continue to tell the story, we revealed that we can absolutely,
Yep.
you know.
Totally. So the end of that part is that night went on. I didn't reach out. She didn't reach out. And I was like, dang. And I was really bummed. And like week after week. And then after the first week, I was like, okay, she's probably not going to reach out. And then after that, we didn't really see or talk to each other for, I want to say like a month and a half, 2 months. I maybe ran into her a few times, but it was nothing like too crazy. We didn't talk much. And then one random spring day when we were at ski shores in Austin, it was beautiful out. Like everyone's kind of starting to come back after the winter. She shows up to ski shores as I'm there with 2 guys from my small group that knew about this story and another girl or 2 that I hadn't met yet. And I was shook because I'm like, okay, like I guess like this is what Austin's going to look like. Like it's.
Did you think they were dating?
No,
Oh.
but
Just
that in a
running
second.
into her.
But it was weird, like small big town moment of like, okay, I'm probably not gonna escape. Like
I
the
see.
ideal for me at that point was it didn't work out. We're probably not gonna be able to be friends, especially if I'm like still emotionally interested. And so the best case was I don't see her so that I don't get reminded and like I'm still healing and all that. But then I was like, that was the first day of like the real like, okay, that's not gonna happen. Especially because she's with 2 of my small group guys. And a couple minutes after she got there, I like pulled them aside. I was like, hey guys, I want to tell you something. Like, all like happy. And then I pulled them over. I was like, guys, what are you doing here with, that's Mckenna. That's the girl I've told you about during small group that like we went through this thing. And they're like, what? And it blew their mind. Anyway,
Guys
that
are
was
so oblivious.
yeah.
Sometimes.
Well, and yeah, to
right?
be fair to them,
Who are these guys?
they had no clue what she looked like.
Okay.
And maybe they just didn't put the name together because it's
Okay.
like whatever. But anyway, that was the first time I saw her. And then from there on, it was like sprinkle of just more, like seeing her more and more to the point where it really registered. She's not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. I think I need to like just press in. But for me, I still hadn't fully gotten over her emotionally. There was no one else that like, I think maybe I went on like a few dates, like 1 date each, but like there was no one that I felt nearly as drawn to as her. And so it was really hard to even go there or think to go there emotionally with someone else because I was still there with Mckenna. There were, I guess, fast forward to like summer, we started seeing each other like pretty often. Like at this point, it's multiple times per week. It's run club, it's parties, it's whatever else. And I got to this point over those months where, again, I was still really emotionally interested, but she wasn't. And so it was getting harder and harder to deal with being around her, but she was someone I didn't want to not be around. And I also realized, kind of getting to the spiritual side, that after all this time, I had built up, just truthfully, like this resentment and like bitterness, even though I was like, I'd be with her in person and be like so in and like so emotionally there and like just joyful. But then I wouldn't be with her and I'd be like, oh, that's right. It would be a reminder for me of like, yeah, this girl rejected you. You were too nice. You were too this, too that. And I'd like believe these lies. And they just compounded to the point where I realized I needed to truly forgive her in a way that I really hadn't before. Cause I had like gone through the motions of forgiving her, but I hadn't fully done the work, with just like one-on-one with the Lord for more than 5 minutes. Like I needed to spend more time. I took a trip to San Diego midsummer, July, and she, when I was there, I went through these steps for forgiveness, and I came back like feeling so much lighter and like, okay, I feel like I'm like clear of this emotionally. Like I don't.
Okay. Let me ask you, what do you feel like you were seeking forgiveness? Like forgiveness for her and the rejection, forgiveness and
Yes.
leading on. What was it for you?
It was, and this is nothing on her. It was all me of like, I felt she owed me something, and the reality is she didn't owe me anything. Like we went on 5-6 dates, and then we talked about it, and like she decided for herself that, she wasn't interested, and she didn't owe me to like tell me that and like make another clean break. But I think I clung to that part of like, oh, I thought like we were going to try this and we didn't. And so anyway, I thought she owed me something, and even though she didn't. And because I held on to that, it was just like a chain, like an emotional chain.
I see.
I had read, great book recommendation. Can I make a book shout out?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. Maybe we'll get sponsored.
Okay. There's a book called Freedom Tools that a group of us just went through, and it goes through a lot of different topics on getting freedom for your soul. One of them, one of the biggest, is forgiveness.
Yeah.
And there were like 3 different types of forgiveness that I found like so interesting. I wish I could rattle them off, all 3 right now. One of them was the debt owed piece. And when I read it, it like struck me. The Holy Spirit like struck me so hard. And that's what I was able to work through, get that freedom. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I feel like from things I read and learned, just men having that, what is it? Like rejection and shame is the piercing of a man's heart. And so that feeling, whether it's shame for I didn't do enough, or I should have done it differently, or rejection of she rejected you, that just like crushes man's spirit. Yeah, it did. And even though at times like I really didn't even realize it until the Lord like really woke me up to it. And unfortunately, earlier in the story that I had kind of covered over, I saw that bitterness take root in like, didn't happen many times, but there was one time where I made a comment about her running, and like it really hurt. Like, well, I don't know if it really hurt her, but like it came off bad from my end, and it came off like I was bitter. And I remember like after that interaction, I was like, gosh, like, what am I doing? Like saying something like that, even if it like it sounds like it's a joke, or in it like, oh, it is a joke. It's like it still comes off bitter. So like I don't want to do that. And so it was just a wake up call. Like over time, the Lord like used those things to be like, okay, you really need to tackle this. It was like coming out sideways of like the deeper issue.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so you're in San Diego. You're doing this healing.
Do the healing. Come back, and I'm so excited. Like tell my, speaking of good, Christian guy friends, accountability, all that. I shared that with them the next night, and they're like, David, so happy for you. That's awesome. And then one of them, I guess 2 of them shared they had thought that Mckenna was interested in one of them, and they were both my really good friends. And so I heard that, and like I had just gone through all this healing, and then it was like a double, triple, quadruple dagger of like restarting the process. Yeah. And it was a whole nother can. Like the forgiveness piece for that stuff was now covered, but then it was like like brings back up the rejection piece for me inside. Right. Like rejected me, but you're interested in this guy. He's my best friend. Like you, like very accusatory. And like it was the enemy kind of speaking in and like jumping on that wound and like to like sow jealousy and more discord. And it got so bad over like a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, something like that, where there was so much drama, like for no real right reason. Like the reality is that I ended up going through, and the Lord showed me graciously, was that like at that point in time, like I needed to fully surrender the idea of being with Mckenna at that point. Like not just for the forgiveness on like that, the early part, but then also like, yes, I want, like for me, I was like, I want marriage, and Mckenna like seems like the perfect girl, and this, that, the other, but it was like too clutched in my hand. And the Lord was like, I'm going to use this situation and like really, really make sure you surrender, not just her, but like marriage and the idea of like a woman and a spouse overall. Like he
Yeah.
took that little thing and just went deep, and
Yeah.
I'm super grateful for it, as we'll get to. But at the end of that kind of 2-3 week period, I end up jumping on a call with the guy that I found out she was like potentially interested in. And we were just going back and forth, and because we were close, we could be real with each other. And he just called out the fact that like he didn't even know where he stood with her, but all he did know was that what was happening was not from the Lord. It was sowing discord in our community that was so strong. And as soon as he was like saying those words, my mind felt like a storm cloud before. And then as he said them, it was like parted, like God like parted the sky. And I just saw like these storm clouds disappear, and it was like blue skies. And in that moment, I was delivered from like the jealousy and like the rejection piece and like all the other things. And it was so beautiful. And it went from like this really hard conversation with him to like this really beautiful conversation. And especially the fact that God would use him, like of all people, the guy that I was like so like jealous towards in that moment. Like it was like perfect. It really was. So from that moment on, it was, that's like when the real full healing started again. And like for good, for this purpose, in that, because during those couple weeks, Mckenna and I like weren't really seeing each other. There were people that were like, should I go to this? Should I not go to this? I was thinking, should I go to this? Should I not go to this? And I was like, enough of that stuff. I'm like, that's not of the Lord. I'm just going to live, and the Lord will heal me and bring harmony and peace. And he absolutely did. And he continued to move in my heart as he restored me to the point where I was like, I need to just apologize to Mckenna. And I apologize to the other guys too, but like, I need to make this right with her, because she's someone that I do, at this point, I do want to be friends with her. Like, she is such an awesome, I had gotten to see so many beautiful qualities, not only when we went on a few dates, but also just like as we were in the same community, like all the ways that she treated other women and treated guys, and what she was about as far as her pursuit with the Lord. So I called her, and I was like she was at work, and I was like in the middle of my work day, and I was just like, hey, this is just really on my heart. Like, I gotta say, I'm so sorry. And like just went right into it. No context, no nothing, just right into it.
Yeah.
And it was super, like, it just felt directly from the Lord, as you'd expect. And felt a lot of peace and joy after that conversation, and felt like, okay, like I can do this. The Lord's going to give me the strength to be friends with this girl. He's going to help me surrender her, and he's going to help me continue to surrender marriage. That was still like July, early August, whatever timeline wise. We just continued to be friends. We'd have community dinners at our place. A bunch of our community group goes to Red Rocks and Austin Stone, and it was just like a hodgepodge, but we would just do life together, to put it simply. And we'd go out in the boat and go wake surfing and all these fun things over the summer, like Austin.
So fun.
Have you been?
I have, but I think I'm going to move there now.
Are you actually? No, you're not.
I'm not, but
maybe one of these days.
But I have,
maybe you too.
I have always loved Texas.
Maybe me too. I tell you, if you find me a
Maybe you
husband,
too.
maybe you too. I will be there. Sarah and I are both going to move to Austin if you can find us hubbies.
I love Texas.
No pressure, D.
I love Texas.
Oh, man.
Before I moved to Charleston, South Carolina for a little bit, and it was between Charleston or Austin.
Okay. Charleston's
Charleston's
great.
great.
I've
And
never
the Lord,
been. I don't
the
know
Lord
why
used
I'm
it
saying
there,
that.
but maybe round 2 in Austin sometime.
That'd be great. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you. Pressure's not
I'm
on,
like
but I
spike
will be on
ball,
the lookout.
pickleball, community dinner, Christian,
Yeah.
single, community. Sounds amazing. Sold.
Yes. So we continued doing life together. Fast forward to kind of is this tail end of summer? Yeah, pretty much like tail end of summer. Like September, I think, at some point. We go out on the boat, and at this point it had been like a month and a half, 2 months, maybe. I don't know what my math is there, of like us being like real like friends, and like that's it. And the end of the night comes along. We had gone to ski shores, got some food, come back, surfed, whatever. And then we're like pulling up almost to the dock, and we're sitting in the front of the boat. And I just remember this like great conversation. I felt like so at peace on us being friends, and one-on-one with her. And she asked me like, hey, this community has been so awesome, right? And I was like, yeah, it's been great. And she's like, how do you feel about the community? And I was like, what do you mean? It's such a like a loaded question.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, do you mean like, how do I feel about you and I? And she just like nods her head. And I was like, okay, there you go. I'm just gonna get right to it. And she's like, and I was like, I feel great. I mean, it's been awesome. And the truth is, like, yes, I was totally good with being friends with her, but there was something about her that was and is so unique, like to a godly Christian woman, beautiful inside and out, that like I was like, the truth is I just like don't want to not be your friend, like, or just in proximity to you, like you're someone I want to be around. And it goes back to like the fact that she like radiates joy and all that. I say like all those things, and I say like I pretty much said that too. I was like, you're someone that I don't want to not have in my life. And she was like, good. And hey, can we promise that like if that changes, like for either of us, that we would say something? In other words, if like it wasn't really for her, because she had never, like she had feelings maybe a little bit and then like lost them, and that was it. And so it was more like a romantic desire for me specifically, which is like totally fair. But she was like, if that changes for us, aka me, will you communicate that? Will we communicate? And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. And she said, yeah. And that was it. And I felt like it was a little bit of a dagger. It was a little bit of like a teeth clencher of like, that hurts to hear. Like, but
yeah,
I've surrendered this, and like God will help me continue to just heal and heal and heal. That night ends, and I end up finding this out later, but that was the moment for her where, like, of course, like the guys, like if there's guys listening to this, they will be like, of course, this is what happened. But like, it was like when it wasn't this, but like, it wasn't like she realized I wasn't in, so she pursued. But it was the moment for her where it like started to change of like, maybe I don't know what I'm feeling here. And so she can tell that part better than I can, so I won't really speak to it, but like it changed there. And the extra thing to call out for me is like, even though it was a dagger or like a teeth clencher, it also felt like a really like a moving conversation. Like it moved our relationship forward in a great way. I called it a needle moving conversation. I couldn't explain why. I told my friends, got back that night, I was like, it seemed like a needle mover. And they're like, dude, what are you talking about? She basically just friend zoned you for good. And I was like, I know, and I couldn't explain it.
Wow.
Anyway, a few weeks after that was her birthday weekend. Kenzie's in town, Lauren's in town, a bunch of other friends, and we just had a great weekend. We went on the boat. She had like this like country themed party at her place that night, and it was just like great vibes all around. And once again, like I'm not really thinking anything, but I'm just like, this like feels good, like at this point, to be friends with her. I of course learned this detail later too, but like Kenzie was starting to like kind of catch on.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
I was clueless, but then looking back, there were little things that like added up to be like, okay, it seems like something's changing here. My needle moving comment wasn't for nothing.
This poor guy. Yes. It's 100% true though.
Yeah.
And I knew, cause I had landed, I was like, there's 3 of us that flew in, or 2 of us that flew in for her birthday. I never missed her birthday. And she's like, I have to tell you something, but I've told nobody. And I was like, what is it? And then she told me about the conversation on the boat, and that was when her eyes, she's like, she just felt like she got off the boat, and she said it was like her eyes completely just were like open. And she told me, and so I was one of the only ones that knew. And then Lauren knew, obviously, the next, I think Lo got in Lo and I landed together, and so she told us. And then watching you the whole weekend, I knew, but you didn't know that I know. You didn't even know that there was something going on. And it was just one of the coolest things to just watch. So yeah, everything that you're feeling, you're like, something's feeling maybe, but then you're like, no, there's no way. Yep. And little did you know that we're talking about you the entire weekend and being like, dude, I remember being like, Kenna, actually, it was probably Lauren that was like, dude, wake up. What you doing? Like, come on. Like, this guy's incredible. And my eyes were like, so wide. I was like, this man. And what was so cool was like everything that David did was because he loved her as a friend and had been through all this. And he's the one like driving the boat and letting 15 people surf as many times as they want to on a Friday morning. And like the way that he served her, expecting nothing in return. Because you at this point are like, hardcore friend zone. There's not a chance. So yeah, I got to witness that, and that was really cool. So sorry, keep going.
Yep. And just for like other context, I truly in that moment wasn't thinking at all about the more I do here, the more my chances go up. Like God he gets all the credit for the fact that he can change me. Like it's honestly, I don't know if it's like humanly possible, or maybe if it is, it would take 15 years or something like that to get over the level of like pain and emotion that it felt like. And I did have through all that. So credit to him on that. But anyway, so yes, this birthday weekend happens and I have a blast. Everyone has a blast. And I end up going, funny enough, timing wise.
Yeah.
I came here to Nashville for the first time ever through work. And it was like a three-day conference that I was at. But I was very excited to continue the like just fun of that weekend to see Kenzie, to see you, and take one of the first ever full ride classes that had been so talked up.
I remember hearing about this.
Oh yeah, girl.
Yeah, there you go.
Talking.
Was so excited, and I had heard about it for 10 months, and so it was like,
So
okay,
cool.
long time coming to actually go to a class. Middle of the week comes around, the day I was leaving, and other context, Mckenna and I had been like talking, like she had texted me after the birthday weekend, and so that was other evidence of like, like something, like she doesn't like normally just like text me for no reason. We're like talking throughout the day, multiple days in a row, leading up to Wednesday of your class. I go to the class, finish up, FaceTime Mckenna, and I'm like, hey, like class went great, it was so fun. And then I remember that she was like, hey, like if you need a ride from the airport when you get back, I can pick you up. And I remember thinking, as soon as I heard that, I was like, right from the airport. We're just friends. Like, what do you mean? Like,
Yeah.
And she made some comment about like the fact that she doesn't let any of her friends not get picked up from the airport, and like, which I believe, but
Yeah,
like,
so Mckenna,
I
but
like totally believe that, but it like still felt like extra with
Yeah.
everything that had kind of been unfolding. There was real momentum, it felt like, building, but I didn't want to buy it. I didn't want to like fool myself, because like what a mistake that would have been to like be like, okay, I'm like fully surrendered, but like I'm gonna let this creep back in and like affect me mentally.
yeah.
I said, hey, don't worry, like my work is gonna cover it because I'm on a work trip, like they'll just pay for the Uber back. And she's like, okay, well, hey, if we don't do the airport ride thing, then like let's go on a walk later. And I'm like, okay, like, so I was like, yeah, for sure. And in my mind, I'm like, something's up here, like 100%. You had made, Kenzie, a couple comments about the fact that like I was like such a
because going in, I knew that she was gonna try to pick you up from the airport, and we had literally strategized, okay, if he says no, then do the walk. We practiced what she was gonna say. She was so nervous. And so I remember saying, hey, like, could I, because she was really afraid that you were gonna say no, and she said, that's okay, it's gonna be okay. I've already, he already pursued me for so long. And so I said, well, do you want me to like is anything off the table when he comes to class? Like, and she goes, no, not at all, be you. And I said, because like I'm gonna probably, if you want me to be super stealth about it, I won't give any insights that there's something blossoming here. But if you're okay with me being how I naturally would be if there was a guy that you were interested in, then I would be like that. She's like, 100%, you can say whatever you want. So he comes to class. Lauren's there. She knows what's about to go down. I teach. I shout David out fully in class, like in a as I would normally, but then a little extra more.
You did that to me before too.
I do to my people that I love. But before the class, I remember just saying how fun the birthday weekend was. And then I'm such a toucher, right? So I like grab his shoulder and I'm like, I just want to thank you so much, like, for me as her best friend to leave Austin and know that she's so taken care of, but that you truly are able to see Kenna in the way that I feel like a lot of people over time get there. But he obviously, because the Lord knew, like, you got there so quickly, you could see through a lot of her fear and a lot of the things that she has struggled with. And so I just basically was like, thank you for loving her the way that you do, and seeing her. It just makes me feel, as her best friend, to know she's taken care of in Austin.
So at this point, do you know that she likes him?
Oh yeah. And I know that this is going to be it. Because I think part of what was scary for her was she was like, I remember her saying early, I can't remember if this was before, I think it was in between, after she had told you that night, which I'll let you continue to tell the story, and then between your guys' like that and your first date, like first official date that you planned. She was like, like if this happens, like I really feel like this is my husband. And I think that was part of the weight of her, like, okay, I'll pick him up from the airport, but what if so then we'll go for a walk and all that. Because she knew deep down, I think she knew all along, I think it was her fear. And obviously perfect timing wise, like the Lord knew exactly when to bring you guys together for good. But it was like, okay. And I just knew like this was different, and his pursuit of her, I've never seen her. Mckenna's a very intentional person in everything, even in her dating life, even before she really loved the Lord the way that she does. She's never really had a lot of relationships. She's always been the leader. I've never seen her be attracted to her equal. And meeting David that weekend, like, well, I had met you before, but really getting to know you, I was like, oh yeah, they're better for the kingdom than they are single. So it was, yeah, I was very aware and just had to play it cool, which I'm not, I don't have a very good poker face, but I did okay. If you were there for like more than a day, I would have screwed it. I would have screwed the pooch.
If it wasn't a few things built up, your comment or like what you said alone wouldn't have tipped me off at all. It was just a mix of everything. Her texting me, you saying that, some of the stuff, like you made a post on Instagram that I was in. I was like, oh, so
I freaking posted him in my slideshow. Is that what we call a carousel? Yeah. And I tagged David. I was like, can I tag him? Because I think this is going to matter later. And she's like, yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are not low key about it.
And anyway, so I end up telling her like, yes, you can pick me up. Because like, of course I wanted her to pick me up, but like
sure.
I was trying to guard a little bit. And speaking of guarding, like before I flew home that afternoon, I called my best friend John. I was like, dude, this is all of what just happened. Like, you know, the birthday weekend went great. Like, this is how it's been since I've been here for a few days. And this is what I feel. But like I feel like something's changing, similar to the needle moving thing. I was like, I feel like there's something building here, just something about it. And he was very measured in a good way, like not like a shutdown way, but like just a good way. Hey, remember like where you're at right now, the healing you've gone through, and like just take it one step at a time, take it easy, whatever. I was like, you're right. So I go home, go on the plane, she picks me up. Normal conversation on the way back to my house, 20 minutes away, and we pull up in front, and like conversation kind of comes to like a natural end of what we were talking about. And then she's like, hey, well, I am really nervous to say that. And it's like, as soon as those words came out of her mouth, I was like, whoa, this is about to be a movie scene unfolding. And
Needle is at like full speed.
Yeah, Needle's through the chart, like whatever you want to say. Like it is just like a full blown, like, wow, is this really about to happen type moment. And it absolutely did. And so she just shared, you know, I don't want to take her words, but basically like she just shared that God had opened her eyes, to your point earlier, like during that conversation. And then after that, and it felt great. It felt amazing. It just felt right. And the conversation was longer than I just made it sound. Like we ended up talking for 2 hours, not on that specifically. We talked about that for maybe 20, 30 minutes. And at the end of it, she was just like, hey, I don't need an answer right now. Like she basically ended up saying like, hey, I want to pursue this romantically. And that's why I was so blown away. Anyway, she was like, you don't have to make a decision. You can pray about it for a day, a week, a month, like take what time you need. To your point, she had mentioned like that she at least alluded to the fact that she didn't know it was like going to be a guarantee. And I found that so funny because like, well, maybe she didn't know my like pursuit of other girls in the past, but like she was one that stood out like by far in a way. So anyway, of course I wasn't going to like, I was like, out in my mind, I was like, I played a little maybe too hard early. So let me take at least a little bit of time and actually pray about it. So I told her I'm going to pray about it. And I went back, and of course, like the guys are at home, and one of them had seen that we were in the car talking for so long, and he's like, he has this big smirk on his face when I come in, and the other one was there too, and they're like, all right, start talking. Aww. And I'm like, I'm going to go to the gym. Actually, I'll see you guys later.
No.
And they were like, no, you're not. You're going to tell us right now. And told them the story. But essentially, yeah, I mean, I took not even 24 hours to pray about it, but I just had this feeling that it was just a no-brainer. Yeah. Like, I mean, just literally to call it how it was. It was not even a thought in my mind of like, am I going to say no here? It's like, no.
Yeah.
She is the woman that I have prayed for almost all my life, at least half my life, like to when I started realizing marriage is important and I want to find a great woman of the Lord. And it was just such a, like, I just felt God so strongly. And the next day I hadn't even like told her my answer, but I was like, hey, there's this, who was it? Why am I blanking on his name? Tyler Hubbard. There we go. Sorry, Tyler. But we
maybe we
went
can get
out.
sponsored by him too.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tyler Hubbard. You're here. We remembered.
Yeah. I ended up saying like, hey, I'm getting these tickets. we're going. And she was like, okay. That night when we got back is when I said like, hey, I'm in. And she was like, I'm in too. Let's do this. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful moment. And then a week and a half later, I had like asked her to be my girlfriend officially, because it was like
Love
this.
it.
I mean,
Define it. We love that.
Yeah, well, because it felt like no other relationship that I've ever been in, because we had known each other so long.
Mm-hmm.
We had also dated for a few weeks way back in the early part of the year. And so we had both said that it felt like we had been dating for like 5 months already, even though it was like a day in. I guess the rest is history. Like it's I don't even know what else to say. It's just been going fantastic, and like, gosh,
What a beautiful, beautiful story. And I feel like I see the Lord all over that. I mean, this is obviously my first time hearing any of
you got the full.
I love
you
it.
got the 85% version that's podcast friendly.
The details.
No, it's all podcast friendly. But
yeah,
anyway.
I know. I wish we had so much time. But I think when you talk about even the first needle moving moment, where to everybody else it sounds like, oh, you're not interested, and so finally she is, kind of thing. I'm like, as two people who are pursuing the Lord as believers, I see God all over that.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is God literally protecting your heart in that and saying like, hold on, wait, I've got you. You're fine. You've surrendered. You're in me. Like I'm taking care of you. And in that moment, he's like, all right, my daughter, go. Like, cause I just feel like y'all loved each other like brothers and sisters in Christ too, which is beautiful. And what we're called to even in marriage, to like love like brothers and sisters. And she is your sister in Christ. And I feel like that's what I saw when y'all were having that moment on the boat, right? You were on a boat.
Yep.
And then, yeah, in that moment, it just is like the Lord is like, all right, Mckenna, he's yours. He's safe. He's good. And her eyes became open. And
yeah,
that's just his freaking perfect timing.
It really, really is.
It's so true. And as you're saying that, Sarah, I, as someone who has known Mckenna and loved Mckenna for a long time and has been praying for her husband alongside her, knowing her heart, knowing how she needed time to heal. And she actually kind of taught me the saying of like the cement drying to solidify. It's been so cool to be an observer of your guys' story and see all the God winks and hugs and moments along the way that have refined you both to prepare you for this moment, so that when it was both of your full yeses, it was everyone else that's been a part of that story, as someone who deeply loves her, it's a full-blown yes too. And to see that and to go, okay, like what you said, okay, my daughter, now go, it's safe. That's exactly what it was for Kenna. Was she's not one to just jump into things. She's very methodical. She's very intentional, the same as you. But I think for her, given her history and her past, and again, she's not here to speak to that, so I won't share too much, but she takes time to trust and to know that you guys were friends first. What's funny about Kenna too is like one of the things she's always said, it would be so great to just marry my best friend. Like it would be so great. And of course we all want that, but she was always like, it would be great to be friends first. And we've never really had that. Cause again, like Sarah was saying in Nashville, not that doesn't exist. We just aren't a part of a community where it's a lot of godly girls and a lot of godly guys. I think that's something that's super rare and incredible about your crew. And I can just speak to having been a part of it when I come to visit. It's incredible. But to be able to now go, yeah, Ken, look, and you are now dating your best friend from all these months of trust that was built between both of y'all. And it's just like so cool to be a witness to that.
There's one other part to the story that it was like me specifically about like the tearing down of like the idol I had of her marriage women. Can I share?
For sure.
Okay. It's like it's a very cool story specific to like, if you were to ask like, how do you hear from God, or like, how have you heard from God? Like this is one very, very clear way among others that have unfolded with our kind of journey. But we, through our men's group, had been reading a book called Becoming a King. And there was a chapter that I was reading through, and little fun fact about me, I read on the treadmill sometimes at the gym, get my steps in.
Brilliant. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's like a 2 for 1, you know?
Yeah, love a 2 for 1.
And I was
What?
I was reading the first page, and it talked about this like doing this excavation work. But it was one of those times where, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, where you're reading a page, but you're like not fully reading it, and you realize like I didn't just retain anything I just read. Let me reread it. That happened like 4 or 5 times, and I was like, all right, like it was God saying like reread this and really read it. And it talked about doing the excavation work to your soul and letting God like basically like reform, like restructure you and your heart and your soul. Anyway, that really took root, and I was like, I really need to do that. And that it was like over the course of like 7 days, like a week of time, where I had a series of like 3 like mini visions. And I say vision, I mean like just like on my imagination screen in my head, like a very clear picture, like at a like not a random time, but like during prayer, during my time trying to talk to and connect with God, he like put it there. And basically what it was, you know, talking about this excavation work. It was a physical idol that represents like a stone statue representing all those idols I just mentioned: marriage, women, Mckenna, all of it. In starting this excavation process, I saw myself in that vision. Like I saw like me taking a hammer to this stone idol. It was really great in that moment because I was like, nice, I'm making progress. Like there's progress happening. It's chipping away. But I also realized when I saw the full picture, when I had the other 2 mini visions, that like in that moment, it was me trying to still do the work. And it was a reminder that like, I need God to help me do that work. It's not about what I can do as far as the excavation. It's, am I leaning on the Lord to help him tear that out and give me a new heart? A day or 2 later, I saw the same picture of the same idol. This time it was not my hand and a hammer chipping away. It was multiple, like I think of like Miley Cyrus Wrecking Ball song, like when I think about this, but like I think of like the big like cats, like the big equipment, like heavy duty equipment coming in with these wrecking balls, and they're like swinging from multiple sides, just
Yeah.
and it's like really doing some damage. And like I knew in that moment, as I was looking at like, this is God bringing in the heavy machinery. He's the one doing the heavy lifting. And I was like, that's beautiful. But I still felt like the full picture wasn't really there. And then a few days later, I was in Arizona and I was on a long run. And on the middle of this run, I get that, I'm like praying and I get that vision again for the final time. And it was a zoomed out version of the idol, at this time destroyed, but in place of where the idol was, the big stone one, was the Lord on his throne, and he was massive. And there were all these other idol looking things, but this time like they weren't actually idols. They were just like in their right spot. They were small. It was like giant God and then little things here, and all of them represented different things. It was like family and friends and community and wife and all these other things that at this point in time in my mind and my soul had fully been surrendered in a way where it was like they're in their right spot. They're still important. They're still there. It's not like they're irrelevant, but it was not the massive statue that I had built for myself. That got destroyed and made way for the Lord to be there, which is where he rightfully should be, as we know. And then the other things were in the right spot. And so just wanted to share that because it was such a moving experience, and also just like way that I heard from the Lord. And that doesn't happen a ton for me, but it's happened before, and it's a way that the Lord speaks to me, and it's been really cool. So,
and do you feel like that is as part of your journey in the year of meeting her, friends, dating, the whole thing, that there was obviously parts where it sounds like you made her an idol, or the desire of
100%.
marriage an idol, the fantasy of what could be an idol? And did those visions happen within, like, what time period were those visions in?
Yeah, it was, I want to say right around the conversation on the boat. If I had to like absolutely nail it, I think it was after that conversation on the boat, but of course before we started dating.
Amazing. And so it's like the Lord being like, these have been idols. Let's wreck that, start over, put them in the right place.
Yep.
Put me first. And how cool. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that story.
Yeah. Really cool.
So cool.
No, and also just thank you honestly so much also for just your vulnerability and transparency to share like your story with someone that obviously is my favorite person in the world. And I just feel like there's so much here. So we're going to need to do part 2. Are you cool with that?
Oh, I'm cool with that.
Okay,
and
we're doing a part 2.
Yeah, I would just say to that when this story was being written, it was not a beautiful story. It was a very like hard, draining, taxing story. And that's kind of what the Lord leads us through. Like he prunes us, and that certainly was the case with me and with her. And so, yeah, happy to talk about it. We love telling the story now.
It's so great. And just to kind of tie this with a bow before we move into part 2, ladies, I just want you to know that this is out there, like this pursuit, this intentionality. If you are both, which you and Kenna both, like obviously having close proximity to Kenna throughout this entire experience, and then now knowing you and seeing your story and hearing your story, like even when you guys didn't get what you wanted, and even when you were struggling, you were leaning fully on the Lord and letting him do this excavation work in your hearts, both of you. Like if Kenna was here, she'd say this exact same thing in other ways. And so I just think it's so important, like when you are sitting at home and you're like, I don't have this person. It's like the Lord is working in the wings. And we talk about that all the time on this podcast. And if you are truly chasing after him, you will not miss what he has for you. It might not look the way that you thought it would. Obviously the story doesn't, but I think there's so much beauty in that. And like exactly what you said, it wasn't beautiful. It's beautifully wrecking in both of your lives. But then look what happened. Like you didn't just get the girl, you got the girl in the new heart surgery, and she got the heart surgery too. Like she's not here to share her things that she went through, but just speaking, and I watched her do so much work over the course of you guys' friendship before you guys started dating. So like to her too, like you both just put in the work. And I love this story. This story has given me, as her best friend who cries about it in the best way of like, she's met the person we prayed for. It has also given me as a single person so much hope, and like a newfound sense of hope and a newfound sense of peace to be like, yeah, there are guys out there like this. This is what it should look like. I know my story will look different because it will be my story and my future husband's story, but this is the standard in which I'm setting and resetting and then walking in myself to attract that. So just want to encourage ladies, like there are David Taylors out there, ladies, okay?
And join us next week for part 2 of more grilling David. And remember, even if he is still good.